Well, welcome everyone. I'd like to just welcome you to another episode of Wellness Wednesday. Actually, personally, the favorite part of my week. We always meet here at the same time, same channel, if you're joining us by Zoom. And we are addressing a lot of different health topics. And I learn something every single week, and I hope you do too. There's many of you that join us week after week after week, and we hope always to bring you a lot of value. So I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Marilee Marisich, and I've been a wellness warrior for about 15 years now. And I really got an interest in this when I had my own health crisis. Can any of you relate? Where you just realize at some point in your life, you hit this health crisis and it's like time to get really serious. And so I started to educate myself and learn more about how I can help my body help itself. And it entered me into the world of what we're going to talk about tonight, just the central topic of activation and how that can be a beneficial thing. But I am so excited to literally have our special guest on tonight. She's absolutely one of my favorite people. We've had her on several different times before. And I absolutely love this girl. Kellie is her name. And she's a dear friend. She and her husband, I absolutely love these two. And I want to tell you, even on a personal level, they're two of these people that will just kind of jump in your world in crisis. And I've had a few in my world. Had a brother-in-law that had a stroke. So I thought brain injury, who's the first person to call that's going to know a lot about this topic? Kellie and Arthur were those people that I made that first phone call to. And I want to tell you, she's here tonight for a reason, to just share a lot of her knowledge on the topic of brain health. So I think you guys are going to enjoy this subject and learn a lot. So if you don't have a pen and paper handy, you might want to do that, because I know she's going to bring so much valuable information. But truly, I want to read to you her bio, because I want you to know this girl's legit. She's amazing. I love her to pieces. But Kellie Lupshaw holds a master's in physical therapy from Mayo Clinic and is an expert in women's health and energy and longevity. She and her husband, Arthur, own a neuro rehab clinic in California. And I tell people all the time, like, if you want to know who's who in this topic and rehabilitation on the West Coast, these guys are it. Like, they know their stuff. It's amazing. And probably within the United States, I can just say Kellie and Arthur are the ones I call. But she's passionate about helping others to become the CEO of their own health. She's a busy mom of four, an amazing woman, and truly one of the most brilliant people I know. So I'm so excited to have Kellie on tonight. And Kellie, I know as we were getting ready for this topic tonight, I think you would agree with me, now more than ever, we are seeing in the news, I'm seeing it in everything from push ads that come to us on social media. It's all around us. It's this sudden awareness of topics that have to do with brain health, whether that means depression, anxiety, brain fog, memory functioning, and even Alzheimer's. We are hearing about it more than ever. And I would venture to say that probably most people that are joining us tonight and listening in would say in one way or another that they've been touched by this topic. And so maybe if it's not touched them personally, maybe through a friend or family member. So it's definitely something. I think knowledge is power. I know you agree with me on that, but I want to bring you in tonight and literally start by just asking you to just tell us a little bit more about yourself, Kellie, and what brought you to be so passionate about brain health. I know you have a personal experience and a personal story, so tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, welcome everybody. And honestly, thank you for being here. And Marilee, you absolutely nailed it with the conversations out there about brain health. And I think this past couple of years has even brought it more to the forefront with everybody, where before it really wasn't talked about, right? It was like pushed under the rug until you had something going on. Then it became forward thinking of brain health and what this really is happening. So you guys, those of you that are here, I honor you, because you don't want to wait to take care of your brain health. We don't see it. we see the outside, which is it's hard. And maybe sometimes we're like, okay, yeah, I want to protect my joints and I want to, protect my heart. But the brain is often ignored and misrepresented out there. So I thank you. And Marilee, it's an honor for Arthur and myself to have helped you and your family, and many others inside and outside of our company that have called us in crisis. Arthur and I have always told everybody we are really, really good people to know, but we hope and pray you never really need our services, because once you have a brain injury, and whether it's a brain injury from an accident, whether it's a stroke, whether it's, concussion out on the football field, whether it's somebody surfing, whether it's a car accident, whether it's MS or Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, we don't want it, because once we have it, recovering the health of our brain is extremely difficult. I'm into the science, I'm into neuroplasticity. It's possible, but let's just say, I think we would all agree, let's keep our brains as optimal and as healthy as possible. And therefore, maybe we won't have to in the future, right? So, quickly, my story is, I've been a physical therapist for 25 years, but unfortunately in my family history, my grandmother, had Alzheimer's, and we took care of my father-in-law who had it as well. It's also been true, and probably those of you out there with kids in sports or activities, that maybe you've had family members that have sustained a concussion, and of our 4 kids, we've had 2. And so brain health was very, very dear to my heart, because it's what I've done for 25 years. But when it becomes family, it's even more first and foremost. And then what I was sharing with Marilee is 2 years ago, when I found out all my genetics, did all my DNA testing, I was shocked and a little bit taken back to find out that I too actually have the gene for Alzheimer's. And I was like, what? Me? Wait, I help people, I treat people, me? But honestly, it's given me the most power possible to take care of my health on a whole nother level. But what I really realized is what I've been doing with my health most of my life, but even I will say the past, 5 to 8 to 10 years, is I'm putting myself on a journey to optimize my brain health so those genes don't turn on. And that's what I want for all of us, right? Because many of you out there are just starting why do I have some memory loss? Why is my cognition failing? Why I haven't felt this way before. And so maybe it scares you, right? Oh my goodness gracious. So definitely, Marilee, it's a topic that we need to. And you guys look, I had full on, I've got science, I've got articles, I've got books, I've got everything to talk about. And tonight, I don't think anybody really wants to know the science, because honestly, the science is legit in terms of brain health and what we can do. Most people want to know, well, what can I do today, right? What are actionable things I can do today? And so with that, Marilee, I'm going to pass it back to you, but it's definitely a very, very important topic to the world and to me specifically.
Well, that is true. And when it hits home personal like that, you pay attention, and how fortunate for you to actually know. And from a proactive standpoint, I think that is key. And honestly, I think you and I talked about this a little bit, and I was so fascinated when you said this. You said that literally 20 years ago, what was happening 20 years ago is how we're living today. So let me segue into this question and ask you, what are some of the biggest lifestyle factors that affect brain health?
You guys, this is a great question. And I'm going to start with how we've been feeling these past couple of years. And everybody wants what do I need to go do or buy or have, or it's the thing. And honestly, it's some of the basics that we've all ignored. That's really the case. And I know some people are throwing out there gut health and mold and toxicity. And yes, you guys, yes, all of this affects brain health. But honestly, you can put all of it aside if you're not doing some of the basics in your lifestyle. No matter what your genes say, no matter how old you are, what health condition you're in, all of us need to absolutely start with a couple basic things. And the first thing I will mention, Marilee, is sleep, because it's not just the time in the bed. Yes, we really some people say oh, I can operate on 5 to 6 hours, no problem. For the most part, the majority of us, I'll just say, really do need that 7 to 8 hours. But what I've realized from all the people that I've been coaching and helping is 7 to 8 hours doesn't mean you were just in bed, right? It's going through the stages of sleep in that time that's spent in your deep sleep, which is where we repair. Literally, our brain is washed out all the junk is taken away. Things are healing. We use so much energy during sleep. You probably would never know that. When we get into things like mitochondrial health and everything, we're asleep, but they're going to town. They're working really hard for us when we're in that deep sleep. So if those of you that are waking off and on throughout the night, if you're never getting into deep sleep, and I don't mean you need to go buy all the gadgets. You can. If you're a data person, you absolutely can. But you really need this sleep routine of winding down at night, not eating too late, not exercising too close. In the mornings, getting up, getting sunlight in your eyes, activating our circadian rhythm and our normal hormones, so that you don't have to like, why can't I sleep? What next thing is going to make me sleep? Our bodies are made to sleep, but typically we're stuck in fight or flight and stress. So therefore, we're not allowing all of our hormones that help us go to sleep and that deep sleep really take hold. So sleep is the first thing, but that really takes me into the very second thing, Marilee, which is stress. Stress is something, everyone, that will be a part of our lives forever, right? Forever. Sometimes we've got big stress. Sometimes we've got small stress. Some people say like big T for trauma, small T for trauma. But here's the thing, it's what we do with it, everybody, okay? So we have a stressful event in our life. All of our hormones go up, right? So we're in fight or flight. Our stress hormones are going crazy. The event is over. Maybe the event is you were in a car accident. Maybe the event was you got laid off from work. Maybe the event was your dear friend was diagnosed with something. So the event is over, but you don't allow yourself to complete the stress cycle. So your body is still in fight or flight, even though the event is over. So if you're not doing things like having some downtime, having some rest, maybe you're journaling, maybe you're doing meditation, maybe you're giving somebody a really, really big, deep hug, finally, like you're hugging somebody so long, it's either almost awkward or you feel your body just let go, right? If you give somebody a kiss, like you don't give somebody a long, intimate kiss unless like you feel safe. And so I don't mean like a peck on the cheek, goodbye, nice to see you, hello. It's give somebody a kiss that, again, your body says, I'm safe, I'm okay. Complete the stress cycle. So things like, exercise, meditation, all of that is great. I, at one time, also used to think like certain of that was like, who has time for rest? Who has time for meditation? Who's got time for 90-minute yoga, right? But you guys, these are absolutely critical, and not all of it, but we've got to pick something that allows you on a daily basis, because we're going to have stress daily, big or small, that allows you to complete that stress cycle and lets go of those stress hormones. So that's the second, Marilee. And the third thing I will say as far as just like lifestyle is, unless you've been, I don't know, really, really, really buried or not been paying attention, I think we all are quite aware of how diet impacts us. And I will say a couple quick things on that. And just meaning we've got to be eliminating sugar, right? Sugar leading to inflammation, the big baddie, and all those processed foods that contain white sugar, okay? And the second thing is the trans fats. So all the places that you're eating out. And I don't just mean fast food, but I will tell you, I'm gluten-free, dairy-free. I know, because I want to decrease inflammation in my body. I also, unfortunately, have the celiac gene. I have to be very careful. But my husband and I are out to eat, and we eat things that meet gluten-free, dairy-free. And then we're like, oh my God, all those potatoes were fried in horrible trans fats. It's no wonder why my gut doesn't feel well. And then the next day you're in brain fog, right? So if you can watch your, sugar intake, and if you can really, really be careful of eating those trans fats when you're out and about, basically go back to cooking at home, what's in your foods, right? We all like to enjoy, be with friends, go out. So I'm not saying not, but we should be eating more at home, knowing what we're cooking, than eating out where we don't know what's in our food. And if you can do those three things, that will be a game changer for what your brain function starts turning on, just going back to some of those basics.
Oh my goodness, this is such important information. And as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking about how many people wear like that. And I've done it. I'm guilty of it. It's just the badge of honor that I'm busy all the time, multitasking, the queen of multitasking and doing all these things and never giving my brain time to wind down and settle down
Yes.
and all those things. So that's so key. And then we are what we eat. I think we hear that all the time. And I think it's just so key. We talk a lot on the Wellness Wednesdays about just Mediterranean diet is one that I like to really live by. I think it just, you get those healthy fats. So when people are asking me, like, what is it that you like to eat? What kind of diet do you follow? I think that's a really, really good one. Would you agree with that, Kelly?
100%, everybody. You have to think that a diet's not a fad. A diet is a way of life, right? So if you really go back to how we're supposed to eat and what you're supposed to eat and really preparing things from scratch and being really mindful of what we're putting in our bodies. Quick little statistic is that if we today would eat an orange, that same orange, the nutritional value in that same orange of our grandparents, we would have to today eat 8 oranges to equal the same nutritional value today. So it is difficult to get them all through our food, but I want you guys to know that that's truly our first line of defense is getting things through our food and getting our healthy fats. I think we've kind of gotten away. We used to think that back in the day and age that fat was bad, right? So everything was fat-free. Oh my gosh, you guys, we've honestly, that's why we see today, everybody in their 40s and 50s and 60s today, this brain decline and early brain fog and a little bit of cognition issues because we starved our brains of good fats for years because of that whole fat-free craze. So now it's like, oh, we've got to reverse this a little bit and be careful. And just like you said, Marilee, getting all of those healthy fats in our food. And so make sure you guys to really pay attention to what you're eating. Food is information.
I love it. I love it. This is such a good conversation. Okay, I've got another question for you, Kelly. What are things we can control versus not control in our long-term brain health? And how does somebody know if their genes are predispositioned?
Wow. Such a good question. So you guys, I think what we just were talking about, those are all things in our control, right? And I tell a lot of people to say, every day, ask yourself, if you want to be a healthy, vibrant person full of energy and feeling great and showing up well, then what would a healthy person do? So what are the habits of a healthy person? So when you're out and about, you're not making decisions, right? Because we get in decision fatigue because we're in decisions all day, every day. But if you've already made the decision that I do things that a healthy person does, so I make sure I get some exercise in, I make sure I watch what I'm eating, I make sure I have some time that I write in my gratitude journal, or you maybe do some mindfulness or meditation. You have to tell yourself, I do the habits of a healthy person. And so every day you're not making a decision. Should I eat this? Should I not? Should I exercise? Should I not? Should I meditate? You guys, that's exhausting. Just choose, make a decision that you want to live the life of a healthy person. And that will take you far and wide in your long-term health. But other things, honestly, Marilee, is right. We can't control our genes, meaning what your mom and dad gave you, what they gave you. But the myth of I'm going to have what my parents had and grandparents had because it's in my family, so I'll have it too, that's the old myth. And I want you guys to know that with 100% certainty in every research literature or podcast or book coming out that you can read, know with 100% assurance that the majority, like 96% of our genes are within our control of the epigenetics of turning them on or off. So if you looked at my genes, okay, my genotype, they look horrible. My husband and I laugh that like he might have turned me in because he didn't know. But it's really funny. But my genotype, right, what I look like, my genes and how my body expresses is because of what I'm doing in my lifestyle. So with that lifestyle, I make sure that I'm doing things to help us prevent those genes from turning on and off. And that's truly this company of activation. And that's how my husband and I actually found LifeVantage, because we were looking to help our family and our clients optimize their health and optimize their genes. So no matter what your genes say, okay, so we all have genes that are good or bad. But the story is for each and every one of us, we want our good genes to stay working really well, and we want our bad genes to stay off forever or definitely as long as possible. So what's going to give your body that chance of keeping your good genes elevated and your bad genes suppressed or turned off? And honestly, that's this whole field of activation. And activation can be through some of the products that we have. And activation can also be through lifestyle changes of food and nutrition and sleep. So we can turn these genes off or on. And that's what I love is truly, Marilee, there's not a whole lot that we're not in control of. So even though I have the genes for Alzheimer's, I have a specific roadmap for me that I do very specific things of how I exercise. It's not just exercise, but it's how I exercise. It's exactly what I eat. And I eat additional things to support my brain health and take additional supplements. Like if you don't eat fish, right, and you're not getting all of your omegas, I hope you're, subsidizing or supplementing your omegas and getting that good DHA. If you're not exercising, you need to find other ways to boost your brain of BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. So it's your choice. It's not just like, oh, poor me.
It's so true, isn't it? And honestly, that just gives me so much hope, because I think almost everybody for years has thought, well, because my grandma has it or my parents have it, therefore I'm going to have it. So I love that we are in control of that. That is so incredible to me. And, we talk about, Kellie, on Wellness Wednesdays a lot. I love this tagline. It's to be well, fix the cell, to get well, fix the cell, to stay well, fix the cell, to live well, fix the cell. And so we talk about that. We talk about activation. So let me segue into this question. Kellie, how do we activate the body to support our brain health?
Yes. Gosh. So you guys, again, thank you for being here and wanting to have power, which is going to empower us, right? But here's the thing, even though we say knowledge is power, it's applied action that becomes your superpower. So when we apply things, we now know today that oxidative stress is bad for the body and every cell in the body and can lead to early changes in the brain. Call it whatever you want. So if you don't want early cognitive decline, we've got to reduce that oxidative stress. The second thing is if you want your energy, and I don't mean like energy like Marilee and I have a lot of energy, you guys, okay? That's fantastic. But we also need energy of every cell. So every cell can do every function in our body, in our system. So the cellular health of mitochondria is one of the hottest topics out there right now of how to activate your mitochondria. So I don't know about you guys, but I live in Southern California where it's warm. I grew up in Arizona where it's very warm. And I love skiing in the cold. I don't want to live in the cold or be cold. If you like the cold, you can jump in cold plunges. You can go out there and do Wim Hof and you can activate your mitochondria. I might end my showers with 30 seconds of cold, but I don't love cold. So for me to activate my mitochondria with other products is amazing. And then the third kind of trilogy in activation, you guys, is this telomeres and sirtuins and our longevity genes. This is also such a hot topic. And if you've not been paying attention to the science, I will already tell you guys, the company of LifeVantage is way ahead of the curve. And I will just say, as I pull some books out here, you guys, that it's not Marilee having a topic about brain health or having a conversation about brain health. It's Tony Robbins in his latest book talking about life force. Okay. It's Dave Asprey in Superhuman in all his books. It's Dr. David Sinclair talking about lifespan, right? It's Dr. Daniel Amen. You guys, I could go on and on with books right here. So it's brain health is what the topic is. And the topic is reduce your oxidative stress. And we reduce our oxidative stress by boosting our own body's natural antioxidants. It's upregulate our body's mitochondria, and it's how to keep our sirtuins active. Just like you guys have probably heard the topic of intermittent fasting, right? Boost sirtuins. Most people aren't going to do it. Most people don't know how to do it. Most people around the world don't understand it. So literally, you guys, that's this family of activation that, Marilee and I are a part of when we talk about activating the body. Our bodies truly are the miracle. Many of you may be already taking other supplements, and I'm not saying supplements are bad, there's just a new age. Literally, the supplement industry has been disrupted with how to activate the body's pathways so that we can do the work. So you guys, instead of having to take tons of antioxidants, your body can make antioxidants. Instead of having to dip in the cold plunge, boost your mitochondria,
Yes,
right?
please.
Instead of intermittent fasting every day, take your NAD. And together, by optimizing many pathways, together, it's going to optimize all of your cells and your health. And I will tell you, our brain is the master computer. Arthur and I joke all the time that you can go have, a knee replacement and a hip replacement and a lung replacement, but you can't have a brain replacement. There's no replacement for our master computer. So you must take control of your cellular health. And honestly, there is nothing else like this in the field of intermittent fasting than this.
I could not agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. We've seen it too many times. We've seen how people, it's just turned the story around for somebody. It's just such a powerful thing. So Kellie, I know collagen. Can we talk about collagen for just a moment? Because I know it's like a really hot topic. It's a really hot product a lot of people have. And we've just learned about activation. You've talked about that. And now we have an activated collagen that's really changing the game. So let me ask you this question. What does collagen have to do with brain health? I know we talk about it like glowing skin and nails and hair, and everybody wants that, right? And we've talked about on Wellness Wednesday how it affects joint health. We've talked about how it's affect even fascia, how it's beneficial there. So many different angles on why collagen is very, very important for the body. But how does collagen affect brain health? Can you talk about that, and why is ours so different?
Yes, you guys, and I'm not going to go into collagen. I hope many of you either have a basic understanding or you've been listening to other Wellness Wednesdays that many people have talked about that at length. But I just want to specifically talk about the relationship to collagen and brain health. And this is what's pretty fascinating, Marilee, is many people have been taking collagen for a long time. And I even have some friends that have been like, I don't know. I think it's the best. I've just been taking it. I'm not sure, right, what's happening. And felt immediate changes. But what is interesting in terms of the brain, that all of the cells are going to replicate and see changes differently. And we see them in the skin, hair, nails first. Those replicate the fastest. They turn over the easiest. But what we can't see is what is happening in the joints we were talking about. But maybe you could feel it because you're waking up with less aches and pains. Maybe you can't see the fascia, but you're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't move like this before. And wow, this is amazing. But in the brain, not only can you not see it, you may or may not be able to feel it. So it gets discounted significantly about the effects of what collagen would really do for the brain. So those of you either taking it or considering taking it, all I will say is, one, the body needs time, and a lot of time. And this product hasn't even been out 6 months to even see what's possible. But let me give you a story. I have a client that I've been working with. I met her about 3 months ago. She had her stroke 5 years ago. She's 59 years old today. She had been in a coma for several months initially, and the husband has taken her all around the United States to try to help her get better. They found Arthur and I 3 months ago. So when they started with us, not only did they start with our physical therapy at our OC Neuro Rehab, but I had her also start on all the products, including collagen, because it had just come out. And the husband, even though I'd like to claim it all of what we do in therapy, I'm not going to, you guys, because I know what cellular health is. The husband says, oh my gosh, Kellie, I don't know this is all happening. And my wife has had such dramatic changes, but I know that I've been doing also the research, and these are products nobody has ever introduced us to ever, and that are significantly benefiting her brain health because her clarity, her concentration, her ability to focus, she's doing tasks she's never done before in 5 years. Now, this is just one person's story, and she's only been on probably the collagen for 2.5 months, as well as the other products. They do work together, but I will say, knowing what I know about brain health and knowing about this activated liquid collagen, The body, if you just think about collagen living in every structure that's stretchy, if you think about the brain is not hard. The skull is hard, but the brain that lives inside the skull is not hard. It is soft. Okay. It's actually squishy. And then the linings all around it and the barriers all around it, and all those tissues are also stretchy and flexible. So if you imagine that collagen is in every single structure in our body that is kind of flexible and stretchable, collagen is made up of the brain. And that decline in collagen is pretty profound. And what I will also say for those of you that have felt like, why lately, why in the past year or two, do I feel more short-term memory issues and a little bit brain fog? And this is not to get into a conversation at all about per se, the illnesses over the past couple of years, but just note that with that, and along with everything that came, our body has been attacked, our collagen has been attacked by that virus. And that's where some of the proteins live. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, why have all these things been happening, i.e. brain fog, sleep, hair, all the things, it's because our body's been under attack more than ever before. So collagen is more important today than ever before, especially for brain health. This is a much bigger conversation and it's not for tonight, but just to give you guys a snippet of why collagen is so imperative to the brain, because if we don't address brain health today, we don't know what the events of the past couple of years are going to be in 5 and 10 and 20 years from now. For us, for our children, for our parents, you name it, we may see even more significant cognitive decline if we don't take serious action with brain health.
Honestly, I hope you guys are taking some serious notes and learning. I learn something new every single time we do these Wellness Wednesdays, and I did not know that. But I want to tell you, I love that there's hope, and I love that we can take action and we have the tools now, and certainly the education that you're giving us is very empowering to me, and it gives us all a lot of hope, so we don't feel like, wow, I'm really going to be stuck on this pattern of what happens next. So I love that. So my final question for you, Kellie, is, so we're looking at you as a health expert. You know, you've been around all of these different things. What is on your personal must-have daily list of the things you talked about? What's on your personal must-have daily list? I want what Kellie wants. Tell us, please.
All right, you guys. So here's a couple things. If you don't have like an aversion to fish, honestly, you need to be eating a couple servings of it a week. All right. You've got to get that good fat for brain health. And of course, look where it's sourced. It needs to be, wild caught, all of the good things. So I hope that's in your diet. The other things I would suggest is make sure you've got some really good nuts and seeds in there. You need to be like, walnuts look like brains. So think about walnuts for brain health, right? So I try to have my daily dose of walnuts and almonds and a Brazil nut for my selenium. And you've got to have your nuts in there too. I'm not going to go off on a bunch of other diet stuff that I do, but those are some things that are easy, doable, to be throwing into your morning routine. The other things I will say is I take an omega, and because I know what my genetics are, I double up on our omegas morning and night because it's brain food. It's 100% brain food. The other things, and again, I could go into my sleep and exercise routines. For me, I'm not tonight, but as far as other things that I take every day, I will not go without. Arthur and I just traveled around the world and we would not go without. These things were coming with us. So I make sure every single day that I put this Tri-Synergizer in my body. And most of you guys may be familiar with getting it in bottles, or I love the convenience and travel of, honestly, Marilee, these little packets, right? It's like, what do I take of the day? Just get this in your body. That's what you need. I do take gut health and brain health. Many people in the chat were throwing that out there. And yes, absolutely. I make sure I'm taking a prebiotic, a probiotic, a postbiotic every day. And you guys maybe think like, Kellie, like this is a lot of stuff. You guys, we eat a lot of food all day. That's a lot of stuff, right? I'm going to pay for my health throughout my life today or tomorrow or in 20 years or 50 years. So I'm going to stack the odds of of spreading out my payments, just like we do with car insurance and house insurance and health insurance, by that matter, right? We don't just pay it up at the end, we pay it today. And then Marilee, gosh, of course, this new liquid collagen is it's a household staple that flies off of the shelves. And then the last I will say, you guys, is Axio, and why. You're going to learn more. And there's actually, believe it or not, those of you interested, there's going to be a webinar tomorrow night about Axio. You just throw this in some water and shake it up. But this is a brain health nootropic. And you may have heard about nootropics on the market. And I don't want to go long into this because we're really about to wrap up. But all I want to say is you don't need to have focus and concentration issues to take this. If you want mental endurance, you want to be able to go through the day with the least distractions, because our world is full of distractions, right? And like Marilee started with, we all tend to be a little bit busier than we probably should. This is 100% brain food. And so it is okay to take more than one a day. Some of you that don't want caffeine in your system, you can take the decaf version, but just know how this was created with L-theanine in it. L-theanine pairs with caffeine. And so that marries and it makes caffeine this smooth evenness. And it also then therefore won't keep you up late at night or make you feel jittery. It's designed perfectly for brain performance. Axio, you guys, is just absolutely amazing. And I cannot go without. And I know people were like, oh my gosh, blueberries. Oh my gosh, this. Yes, you guys, there is so many superfoods out there. And you're right. I go to the farmer's market every single Sunday and organic blueberries are first on my list. I went with my friend Brenda. We went to the farmer's market, right, Brenda? I know you're on. We got a whole big thing of blueberries. They're already actually done in my family. And we're like, we need more. So I will absolutely, you guys, stay activated. So many people historically thought you couldn't affect brain health or control what's going to happen in your brain. But now we know it's possible and we can. So I just invite you to take your brain health seriously today and start investing in you and become the CEO of your health, as your brain is your master programmer. So Marilee, thank you for having me on. I hope this was so helpful to everybody. And it's been a pleasure.
This was fantastic information. And again, it's all about the long game. What we do today makes a difference. I love that topic. It's about the long game. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Sorry for the interruptions, but I hope that the information tonight served you well. Kellie, as always, brilliant information. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here. And to all of you that are listening and want more information, please get back to the person that invited you to this call and they'll be happy to help you.